But today, like I said, we're talking about Abraham. But before we get into that, I want to ask you a question. How many of y'all have ever gotten one of those spam financial scam emails? You got one of those? Sometimes I call them the Nigerian prince emails. You know the ones I'm talking about? The other day I was looking for an email. It's supposed to come in my inbox, but I couldn't find it, so I was looking through my junk email, which keeps the last 30 days of emails. And while I was looking through there, I saw at least 10 different financial scams. I never knew I had so many Nigerian and Egyptian relatives that wanted to leave me a huge inheritance. If you don't know how these scams work, what normally happens is you get an email from somebody saying, hey, my name is whosoever, I'm a Nigerian prince, or I'm a very wealthy business person, and either I've left you an inheritance or I want to do a transaction, and you're going to benefit from it. I want to give you millions of dollars, and all you have to do is go to this place and send this much money through the mail. Okay? I found one of these scams, something similar when I was in college, and I was first looking for my first car. I went on Craigslist, the safest place to buy your first car. And I saw this listing for a brand new 2008 Honda Civic, hardly any miles on it, and the seller was selling it for an astonishingly low price. Warning signs nowhere to be seen there. So I emailed the guy, and he told me that he was in the Army at the time, and he wanted to do business with me, but he was about to go overseas. So he said, what I needed to do is go to the local MoneyGram and send the price of the car, $6,000, on a MoneyGram, and the military officer would pick it up and send me the car in the mail. Luckily, I was able to detect this small little lie in there. It's kind of funny sometimes to look at these emails and see the creative stories they come up with. Sometimes it's these elaborate plans, and they have all the details figured out. Sometimes it's a little one-sentence something. I pulled off one for those of y'all that aren't familiar so you can hear an example. This email said, attention esteemed beneficiary. The management of Chevron Overseas Oil Company has your email address as a beneficiary. Now, we have several lawyers out here. I have no idea that you can be a beneficiary simply because of your email address. But that's exciting. As a beneficiary in the 2010 New Year cash grant, and has deposited an international certified bank draft of $750,000 with the DHL Courier Company for collection. This grant has been awarded to you by the Chevron Overseas Oil Company as part of the 2010 Annual Development Program for your personal development. I didn't know I was so broken that I needed $750,000 for personal development, but great, I'll take it. The only charges you will send to the DHL courier service to deliver your bank draft directly to your address in your country is $240. Sometimes it can be kind of funny to see these stories. Sometimes it's fun to laugh at the grammar errors that are in most of these. But when you fall victim to one of these scams, it's not very funny anymore. These people that fall for these, they have faith and trust in this promise they've been given that they'll get all this money. And so they go and sometimes they scrape together every penny they have to get that little cost and send it away. And they take that step of faith and they sit and they wait and they wait and they wait for that promise to come true. That can't be a good feeling. The longer you wait, the more you realize maybe everything that just happened isn't true. And looking back on the story of Abraham, we know all the promises of God, how they came true. But sometimes I do wonder when I read through, did Abraham ever feel like one of those people who had just been scammed? The reason I say this is when Abraham was first called, God told him, get up. I want you to move away from the country you've lived in your whole life. I want you to move away from all your friends and your family. And here's the best part, I'm not even telling you where you're going. I want you to get up and start walking, and I'll tell you when you get there. But I want to make your name great. I'm going to give you more descendants than you can ever count. And I'm going to give you a beautiful, healthy land. Food will grow there. Water will never be a problem. It'll be a great land for your descendants to live in. I want to give you all these things, and I want to bless you. Get up and go. So Abraham, after hearing this voice, Genesis 12 makes it clear that he had no question in his mind whether or not it was God. And if you believe that the voice of God is speaking directly to you, yeah, we'll probably be scared, but you're probably going to do what he says. So Abraham got up and went on his way and trusted God. But somewhere along the way, he started thinking, and he went to God and he said, God, you said you're going to give me more descendants than I can count. But I think you may have forgotten something. I don't have a kid, and my wife is unable to bear children. But God assured him, no, Abraham, you will have a son, and you'll have descendants more than you can count. And so Abraham again trusted God. But sometimes in Abraham's story, when he trusted God, he really kind of believed what God was saying, but instead trusted in himself to make it happen. And so Abraham and Sarah made this plan of how they're going to go about this their own way. I won't get into that. Most of you all know that story. But it was clear that that wasn't the plan God had in mind. And so a little bit later on, a messenger comes to Abraham and Sarah, and he looks at them and he says, Sarah, you will bear a son. And this kind of made her laugh, because not only has she been told that she's unable to bear children, and she tried her whole life and was unable to have a child, but now she's well past the age that even the most healthy woman would likely be to have a child. And so she laughs, and the messenger looks at her and says, why are you laughing? She's like, I wasn't laughing really, kids. But, of course, the promise comes out to be true, and they have a son named Isaac. And all that's great. But when you really look at it, God's promised him more descendants than he can count. And all he has is one son. And this is how it goes on for a little bit over 30 years. And about 30 years, a little over 30 years after Isaac's born, Sarah passes away. And so this is the part I want you to use your imagination. I want you to put yourself in the place of Abraham. God's uprooted you for your thing, and yeah, he's giving you riches, he's giving you wealth, but he's made all these grand promises, and all you really have to show for it is one son. He's promised you more descendants than you can count, and you only have one son, and your wife just passed away. And he's promised you this beautiful land that you're going to live in. He told you what the land was. But at this point in time, you're technically homeless. You own no property, and you're living in tents that go from place to place to place. How do you feel at this point? Do you start to question the fact, is everything God told me true? See, for us, when we read in the Bible, it's a matter of several chapters, and we can read it all in one sitting. But for him, this was years and years and years of going throughout time, and God proving his faithfulness time and time again. But still, Abraham hadn't seen this promise realized. And if Abraham was anything like me, I don't like to wait. So this is where we pick up today. The book of Genesis, chapter 23, verses 1 through 20. If you brought your Bible, you can open up or you can follow along on the screen. It says this. When Sarah was 127 years old, she died at Kiryat Arba, now called Hebron, in the land of Canaan. There Abraham mourned and wept for her. Then, leaving her body, he said to the Hittite elders, Here I am, a stranger and a foreigner among you. Please sell me a piece of land so I can give my wife a proper burial. Then the Hittites replied to Abraham, Listen, my lord, you are an honored prince among us. Choose the finest of our tombs and bury her there. No one will refuse to help you in this way. Then Abraham bowed low before the Hittites and said, Since you are willing to help me in this way, be so kind as to ask Ephron, son of Zohar, to let me buy his cave at Machpelah, down at the end of his field. I will pay the full price in the presence of witnesses, so I will have a permanent burial place for my family. Ephron was sitting there among the others, and he answered Abraham as the others listened, speaking publicly before all the Hittite elders of the town. No, my lord, he said to Abraham, please listen to me. I will give you the field and the cave. Here in the presence of my people, I give it to you. Go and bury your dead. Abraham again bowed low before the citizens of the land, and he replied to Ephron as everyone listened. No, listen to me. I will buy it from you. Let me pay the full price for the field, so I can bury my dead there. Ephron answered Abraham, My lord, please listen to me. The land is worth 400 pieces of silver, but what is that between friends? Go ahead and bury your dead. So Abraham agreed to Ephron's price and paid the amount he had suggested, 400 pieces of silver, weighed according to the market standard. The Hittite elders witnessed the transaction. So Abraham bought the plot of land belonging to Ephron at Machpelah, near Mamre. This included the field itself, the cave that was in it, and all the surrounding trees. It was transferred to Abraham as his permanent possession in the presence of the Hittite elders at the city gate. Then Abraham buried his wife Sarah there in Canaan, in the cave of Machpelah near Mamre, also called Hebron. So the field and the cave were transferred from the Hittites to Abraham for use as a permanent burial place. In this story, we get to see the way that Abraham reacts in a situation where the promises of God seem to be hidden. And so it asks us the question, how should we respond to the promises of God, to the plans of God, when those plans and those promises seem hidden from us? When we start at the beginning of the verse, in verses 1 and 2, we see something here that really does make a difference. After Abraham's wife dies, he does what anyone else would do. He mourns. In fact, this is the first time in the Bible that a man is mentioned as crying. Abraham takes the time and he recognizes this problem that's happened in his life, this unfortunate thing that's happened in his life, and he mourns about it. And that's okay. I had a friend in high school, and he was one of those manly men who didn't want anybody to know his emotions. He tried to keep everything built up inside. I remember we once went and saw a movie, and I'm pretty sure he started crying because he got up and went to the bathroom. And when he came back in, his eyes, he had that splash water look. He was trying to hide it. But we really saw this in freshman year when his mother passed away. And he was so caught up in this image he had created where he doesn't feel things and he doesn't get sad. And so he kept all the emotions inside. And what happened when he did that is he started to push away his friends. And he started to get angry at everyone and snap at everyone. But a couple of weeks later at the funeral, I saw him walk out the back. And I looked out the back window and he was on the back step just crying. Just bawling his eyes out, mourning. And after that, he was able to accept what had happened and take that grief and move on from it. We can't ignore our emotions. When things are going wrong in our life, we can't just sweep them under the rug. Just like Abraham, we were all created in the image of God, and that includes our emotions. God gave us our emotions for a reason. So we have to recognize our emotions. But there's something else we see here at the beginning of this chapter. In the 20 verses of this chapter, only 2 verses of them contain Abraham acknowledging the death of Sarah. After that, he goes on and he moves on and he makes preparations for her funeral. This tells us another important key. When things don't go our way in life, we can't dwell on the problems. In that same friend group with my friend whose mother passed away, I had another friend. And they were the polar opposite. And I'm telling you guys, these two did not get along. This was the person who always had a problem getting over things. And I mean that in a very teenager way. If anything slightly went wrong, it took hours and sometimes days or weeks for this person to get over it. Let me tell you a story as an example. We were in PE one day at high school playing volleyball, and I hit the volleyball over the net. The volleyball went over the net and came down, and as my friend went to hit it, the volleyball broke her thumbnail. Clearly, this was my fault. This friend did not talk to me for 2 weeks, and I was uninvited from her birthday party. I, of course, went anyway because, well, that's just the kind of friend she was, and I knew that she would get over it. But the problem was, she would get so caught up in playing the victim and what was happening to her in the moment and how life wasn't fair, that she would lose focus on everything else that was going on. And when she would lose focus, she would lose all sense of purpose. When the smallest thing would go wrong, she would be so focused on that she would lose the idea that life is going on and there's still a part for her to play in it. Luckily, she's since outgrown that idea of staying focused on the wrong things. But here we see that this is what Abraham does too. He takes time to grieve, but then the story really starts to build and what happens next. And that's why I want to spend the most of my time here. There's something here that we can really pass over if we try to read this scripture too quickly, or if we forget that the book of Genesis is one big narrative and that we can't just look at this one story. See, the promises that God had made to Abraham were to give him more descendants than he could count, but he also promised him that he would give him a certain land for his descendants. And if you look at the land that God told Abraham he would give him, he said he would give him the land of Canaan. And so what may seem like a menial task of Abraham finding a nearby tomb to bury his wife and purchasing it, what we actually see is Abraham taking a big step of faith in a moment where the plans and promises of God seem hidden from him. See, what Abraham did is he went to the land that God had promised him. And he said, God, you promised me descendants and I only have one son. And you promised me this land and I'm homeless. But I trust you. I trust your promise that this is the land you will give to me. I trust your promise that my descendants will inhabit this land. And I trust it so much that I'm going to take my own money and I'm going to legally purchase a plot of land in the land you have promised me to secure for my family's burial place. Because I know that if you say you have given me this land, that it will come to be. I trust that even if the plans you've told me about haven't happened yet, it's just because they're still yet to happen. I loved listening to Brandon. I loved listening to your testimony earlier. And something you said really stuck out to me. You said you were working your job and you're taking time off to go and do these things. And at one point they said, I'm sorry, you can't have any more time off. And you said something that really impacted me there. You said, I knew this was my passion. I knew this is what I was supposed to do. So I took a step of faith and I left my job. That can't be easy to do. Leaving that security, leaving that financial security, knowing that you're cared for, knowing that you're taken care of, to go out and follow the plan of God, when really there's no way to know what's going to happen. That's the exact situation Abraham was in here. God had made him all these promises, and he hadn't seen them all fulfilled yet. But he had faith. He took that step of faith, and he took that action to say, God, I trust what you're doing. I trust what you say will be true. So my question for you today is this. What promise or what plan has God set before you that he's asking for you to take a step of action, a step of faith? Maybe for you it's personal. Maybe you're similar to Brandon and you've been working a job that's just not fulfilling, and God's putting it on your heart to step out and take a step of faith and say, God, I trust this plan that you put in my heart. I'm going to do what it takes to get me there. Maybe God's been putting on your heart that there's a certain group of people that are hurting, and he's calling you to serve them, and you need to take that step of faith and say, I'm going to go, I'm going to serve, I'm going to volunteer, I'm going to take care of these people. Maybe you're sitting there thinking, you know what, I really can't think of a certain plan or promise God's telling me right now. What am I supposed to do? Well, guys, I want you to take a second and look to your left and look to your right. The staff at our church has been very busy for the past several months trying to find our new vision for this church. Asking the question, how does God want to use our church and our community? What plan does God have for this church? And the staff has been working on this, but we took it a step further, and last week we had Keiko Tan come visit. And she came to challenge the congregation as a whole to get on board and to say, we know that God has a plan for this church. What step do I need to take to realize that? Maybe God's calling you to take a step of faith and be a prayer warrior to help us discern what the vision God has for our church is. Maybe he's been putting a ministry on your heart and he says, you know what, this is a way I want the church to serve your community, and I want you to take the lead. Maybe God is calling you to support a ministry that's already here, that you've heard about a few times and you thought, oh, that's interesting, but I'm not the kind of person to go out and, just say, hey, I want to do this. Is God asking you to take that step of faith and say, God, I trust the plans that you have for this place. Let me do my part to play my part. Abraham had a choice in this situation. He could have given up when he didn't feel the promises of God coming. Scripture tells us at this point he was a very wealthy man. He could have lived a very comfortable life just doing his own thing. But instead he trusted in God's promise and he acted out on that faith. So what will you choose today? Will we leave this place demonstrating the faith of Abraham, trusting in God's plans, trusting in God's promise, praying every day and saying, God, what is your plan for me? What promises have you made for me that I need to act on? Let's follow in the footsteps of Abraham. Let's choose faith. Bow your heads with me. Dear Lord, I thank you so much for this story of Abraham that you chose to tell us. God, I pray that we can use this story as an example of the true faith we need to show. Even when we don't see your plans, even when we don't see your promises in the way we might want, God, I pray that we trust in you and that we show that trust by our actions. God, I pray that as we leave this place, we actively seek and search for the ways that we can step out in faith, acting on your promises, so that we can make this community, this church, a little bit more like you intended it to be. So, we pray.